Calmer and cooler weather this week. We take a look for the next chance of enjoying some warmer weather and how long at least this colder weather is going to stick around. Plus, as temperatures drop tonight and into the morning, we're on your side with tips on what you can wear so you can certainly be prepared. And we take you on a trip to Sand Mountain where we check in with our special weather predictor and also see what's maybe in store for the big day later this week.
WBRC Fox 6 News. First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
Well, welcome into First Alert Weather Extra. Chief Meteorologist Wes Wyatt. We got the extra on all these weather changes on the way. You know, one thing I mentioned tonight, we're going to have a big concern out there for some foggy weather, and Matt's going to talk a little bit more about that coming up, but also could see some freezing fog out there tonight. Freezing temperatures will be making a return. Let's go to the maps here, and first off, I want to show you what's happening across our region. This is a look at the water vapor imagery, and this is just showing you how the atmosphere is really dried out compared to what we're dealing with over the past several days here. Now we have colder, drier air that has taken over, but there's another surge of cold air on the way. The next front that's going to be dropping in from the north. This is the next big thing, and just giving you the first alert, that's going to bring us maybe some showers tomorrow night. The window for that is very brief, but it looks like between roughly 6 o'clock tomorrow night through about 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we could deal with a few passing showers. But the one good thing about today, at least we had some sunshine out there. It was nice to finally have some brighter weather, but with the sky, you can see now mostly clear, already down to 47. Notice the dew point's at 33, and once that temperature drops closer to that dew point, that's when we'll start to see a bit of foggy weather out there later on. But tomorrow morning temperatures could be as low as 28 here at Jasper, Gadsden, Talladega, Anniston, Ashland tomorrow morning, showing 29 around Rockford, Clanton, Lake Mitchell areas. You get into West Alabama here, even around Tuscaloosa, showing 31, but north of town there around Northside, we may drop into the 20s again, but plan for a light freeze there early tomorrow morning. But very cold and dry. All that milder and rainy weather has now shifted to the other side of the country here. We're seeing on the west coast, I just want to show you this, we're seeing a very strong fetch of moisture making a return. This is actually going to be the next system that's going to be bringing us some wet weather as we get into our weekend. So on down the road, we're going to be watching this next system here that's having an impact across the western part of the country. But also, this is a story we're going to talk about coming up here a bit later in the show, some of these impacts there along the west coast. But with temperatures, of course, dipping again by tomorrow morning, meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with a forecast on those impacts for the overnight and more on the possibility of foggy weather.
Well, we're talking about tomorrow, and we've been giving you that first alert for perhaps some freezing temperatures. So what do you need to wear as you're planning out your day tomorrow morning? Well, we could be right around that freezing point. So good idea to grab the jeans, a long sleeve shirt, and a jacket that can keep you warm tomorrow. But the good thing, we should see some sunshine. So make sure you grab those sunglasses and a hat as well as we go into Tuesday morning with those temperatures in the 30s. I do want to give you a first alert, though. There is a chance we could see some patchy fog develop as we go into the overnight hours. Some of the models are showing it mainly in East Alabama, and most likely it's going to be near bodies of water. We've had some warm air over the past week, and now we're looking at that cold air and light winds, and sometimes you can see fog form during the morning hours. So we're going to be watching that for you very closely, but of course by 9 and 10, if there's any fog, it should dissipate. But this fog looks to be what we call radiation fog. So daytime heat is leaving the ground, and that cools us off, and especially when you have a clear night with light winds. That's when we see some of our coldest air or coldest temperatures. Now, it's all about the moisture. There could be a thin layer of moisture underneath that dry air that's moving in, and that rising air from the surface passes quickly through that moist layer, and then, of course, it cools, and you got that moist layer that doesn't absorb as much heat, and the air near the surface actually cools quicker, and that can cause condensation and fog with moisture, and sometimes you'll see that fog form, especially in your bodies of water. If you got a lot of cold air in place and the water's a little bit warmer, the temperature differences can create some patchy fog. So just be monitoring that. Of course, tune in to Good Day Alabama tomorrow morning. If there's any fog, we'll be here. Destiny will have those reports in her traffic updates. But just a reminder, download the WBRC First Alert Weather app. If you see some fog or just a gorgeous sunset, sunrise, we'd love to see your photos. Just submit it and let us know where you're at and your name so we can show it right here on Extra and on Good Day in the morning as well.
All right, and we're nearing the end of January. We're not the only ones experiencing above average, or at least we have been experiencing above average temperatures. The temperatures right now are where they should be for our area, but we take you across the nation now as spring-like warmth brings record highs across parts of the country, specifically the Pacific Northwest. By Tuesday, almost 196 million people will experience above average temperatures. Yeah, are you missing the warmer weather already? Temperatures are expected to jump 20 to 35 degrees in some states, where temperatures could reach low 70s. Actually Saturday we reached 75 in Birmingham, and by 6 o'clock it was 47. Just wild, some of these temperature changes. But this means that more than 100 new records could be set for daily record warm, low temperatures across parts of the country. And to our west, California, as we talked about a few moments ago, that atmospheric river, we call it the Pineapple Express. They'll be experiencing a strong flow of moisture off the Pacific this week. And I mentioned again, we call it the Pineapple Express, as typically we see that mild southwest flow. The southern branch of the jet stream often makes its way across Hawaii there and across the equatorial Pacific. But this is just an expression for that extreme amount of moisture, basically, that's going to feed into all that rain happening on the west coast. And looks like there's going to be, in the parts of that region there, of course, a threat for flooding. But just looking at the amount of moisture this can equate to is when you're looking at these flows like this, it can generate 27 times the amount of water carried by the Mississippi River, which is equal to up to 15 inches of rainfall. Flooding and a potential for landslides are, of course, going to be the risk there along the west coast. And the Northeast also seeing a fair share of winter weather over the weekend. That left spots with almost a foot of snow. Now that's snow, right? This comes after a coastal storm moved into the area on Sunday, and meteorologists in that area talking a lot about that low pressure system and how it's going to continue to move out of the area and bringing additional snow showers, some of that wraparound moisture. And actually, there was a little bit of snow shower activity that dropped into parts of the Appalachians. We saw some pictures around the region there. Far northeast Alabama actually had a little bit of snow. And back here at home, we're continuing to update you on the Hamilton water crisis after winter weather disrupted it 2 weeks ago. I know that's been a big issue that we've been following along. Our Brian Henry spoke with city officials on where they are now with fixing the issue and if it's finally coming to an end.
Here in Hamilton, they are beginning to see the light. A long week of uncertainty, inconveniences, all brought on by what city leaders say was a perfect storm that struck the Hamilton water system. Matt McCracken.
At this time, the water department is out catching their samples. They're doing the normal samples that they do every month for ADM, and then they're doing 2 samples 30 minutes apart at each tank.
It is a process that takes time, but necessary to make sure all the chemicals are just right and there is no harmful bacteria in the water. Analyzing the results will take about 24 hours, which means, in theory, the all clear signal to start drinking tap water could come Wednesday morning.
So the process is they've got to have 20 psi or 20 pounds per square inch of pressure coming out of that tank before the ADM wants them to take that sample. That's just to make sure that they've got enough pressure that they can operate those tanks.
In the meantime, the city is making progress. It's treating more than 1 million gallons of water per day, water from the Buddy Hatchie River. So for now, the do not drink order remains in place along with the boil advisory, and the water distribution continues at the Hamilton Fire Department. The belief around here is it will all be over in 2 days. 2 days that can't come soon enough for thousands of residents, including first responders. Everyone is tired.
Yes, we are, but at the same time, we're helping people, and that's what we're here to do.
And speaking of bottled water, Assistant Fire Chief Matt McCracken says they've handed out around 660,000 bottles of water since this all started 1 week ago. In Hamilton, Brian Henry, WBRC Fox 6 News.
All right, Brian, and certainly we'll keep you well informed on those reports there coming out of Hamilton. And we, after 30 seconds, we're going to take a look at this week's Moment in Science. A big what-if question is this week's topic. We'll show you after the break. Welcome back into Weather Extra. Right now, our first alert sky vision. We're at 50 at Tuscaloosa, 47 here in the Magic City. Chelsea and Shelby County, 49, 39. A live look there from Young Jewelers in Jasper. The weather conditions in the morning. Again, some fog around early in the day. We'll see those lows in the upper 20s to the north and east, and looks like a lows there around freezing, but afternoon highs, big rebound. Those afternoon temperatures there topping out close to 60 degrees. And the wind tomorrow out of the southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour there. Kind of breezy during the afternoon. We have that system moving in tomorrow night that will bring a small chance for showers, and we'll time that out for you coming up. But in this week's Moment of Science, Dan Smith explores what would happen if all of the planet's land masses were still combined as one.
During our month of what ifs, we've gone from doubling Earth to having the sun to everyone trying to jump at the same time, and we're wrapping things up back at ground level. What if the supercontinent Pangia never broke up? We're throwing back to one of our earliest episodes here. For a time, Pangia was the only large landmass on the planet before a large fissure grew between modern-day Africa, North and South America, kickstarting the breakup process some 200 to 300 million years ago. Plate tectonics made those newly formed continents shift and drift and form a rift, and continue to do so today. Those puzzle pieces of South America and Africa are the most obvious evidence of that drift, and more context clues like matching fossils and soil records yield this as the most likely map of Pangia. Imagine a nice short ferry ride between New York and Morocco. Assuming Earth's spin was still the same, chances are Pangia would still be centered near the equator today, and keeping it as one supercontinent would mean a major lack of diversity in species. Continental drift allowed flora and fauna to thrive, evolve, and adapt separately, and we see that today on islands like the Galapagos or Madagascar. Animals like the mouse lemur or blue-footed booby, don't laugh, aren't exactly found everywhere on Earth after all. As diverse of animal life as Australia has shaped up to have, much of the interior is dry with sparse plant life. Latitude does play a role in creating the outback, as winds around 30 degrees south tend to blow moisture away, but imagine that on a massive scale. Your coastlines would generally be okay, but much of that moisture to get rain farther inland would be quickly sapped out of the sky. That having been said, hurricanes churning over a larger, unimpeded swath of ocean might guarantee stronger storms before they reach the East Coast. Geographic features might prove pretty boring too. We get mountain ranges like the Andes and Himalayas from colliding plates. No collision, no Everest, no ski lodges. It's also likely that we have little to no earthquakes or volcanoes, which looks great at first until you realize Earth's insides would just keep building up heat with no release valve. Some theories also suggest the planet's water came from trapped vapor escaping from those vents and condensing, and we'd probably need that to start life, let alone keep it going. Cultural differences and similarities are near impossible to guess at, so let's end it there and just be thankful the Earth set us all adrift at sea many eons ago. From this week's Moment of Science, I'm Dan Smith.
And I wanted to share this lovely photo from Thomas and Hayden today. Look at that. We're in the severe clear across the Hayden area, and for most of Alabama, finally a little bit of sunshine coming back today. Now, we're going to have some more sun back in the forecast tomorrow, but the thing we got to watch out for tonight could be foggy, light freeze, and some showers possible tomorrow night. I'll show you all that next as we continue right here. I'll be right back with the 7-day, and we go beyond the 7-day forecast. Stay with us. Welcome back to First Alert Weather Extra. Live look from Red Mountain tonight. 47 degrees, the sky still mostly clear. And tonight's one of those nights we'll have a light freeze, temperatures dropping into the low 30s and upper 20s. So certainly make sure those plants are protected. Make sure our pets, of course, have a nice cozy spot tonight and crank up that heat. And it's back to wintertime mode here in Alabama. Not expecting a hard freeze, but there could be some freezing fog. I know you don't hear that a lot, but sometimes when you have the low visibility, as Matt talked about earlier, we're going to see some fog development tonight, especially near the lakes and rivers. And with temperatures dropping at or below freezing tomorrow morning, sometimes that can result in an isolated slippery spot. Just have to watch it tomorrow morning. Make sure if you do encounter where it's really thick out there, just use extra caution there early tomorrow morning, especially around any lakes and rivers where it's quite foggy. But looks like tonight, other than that, of course, no major precipitation. Looks like the overnight temperatures dropping into the upper 20s in a lot of areas, and some of the data showing those forecast lows. I was looking at some of the guidance was even showing some upper 20s down in here around Lake Lake and over around the Coosa River Valley there as well. So a first alert there for freezing temperatures tomorrow morning. In the afternoon for Tuesday, 59 in Hamilton, 62 Tuscaloosa, 62 Utah. So a nice turnaround, especially in West Alabama. You can see here in Birmingham and Points East, highs also in the upper 50s. But we'll enjoy plenty of sun tomorrow. The wind is going to pick up during the afternoon, southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour in advance of a front moving in from the north. Here it comes. It's a fast mover, and you can see the models generating a little bit of rain. Cherokee County, Etowah counties probably have the best rain chance. Areas north of Anniston there for a passing shower tomorrow. That said, might get a brief shower over towards Springville, Trussville areas, back to Birmingham, Bessemer, Tuscaloosa. Might get an isolated shower, but certainly you can see how these clouds move through. I mean, this is a very brief window, maybe 1 to 2 hours at the most, and then colder air takes over again. We get into Wednesday. Notice the clouds dissipate. We'll have afternoon highs out there showing upper 40s and low 50s. So again, close to 60 tomorrow. Then another temperature tumble rolls in here on Wednesday. And actually Wednesday night, a good chance that we'll see another freeze across the area. So we've got this one system tomorrow night. How about the next big chance for rain? Well, that's going to come this weekend. Notice how we stay dry. You'll see the time there at the top of the screen. We'll stop it right here Sunday morning at 7 a.m. So you can see a pretty good chance for some wet weather. So Saturday looks dry, but we'll see some rain coming back Saturday night into the day on Sunday. I'm not seeing severe weather at this time, but I do see a pretty good chance for showers in that forecast. As you'll see here on the First Alert 7-day, again, 20% chance for a shower tomorrow. That's tomorrow night. Wednesday looks dry, 52, 58 on Thursday, and Friday for Groundhog Day, 62 degrees, a few clouds in the mix, and look for this coming weekend, the wet weather impacts to happen on Sunday. So a first alert there for some rain coming back, and it looks like some of that wet weather is also going to stick around into Monday of next week. That temperature there topping out around 54 degrees. So that's what we're going to be watching there in the long range. As we go to beyond the 7-day forecast here, we'll take it on out past the 7-day into the week of the 6th, and you can see I've highlighted, of course, Sunday and Monday of next week, but after that, it looks like another nice stretch of dry weather. Some of the long range guidance, the GFS in particular was suggesting maybe an isolated shower around the 10th time frame and then another system around the 12th. But the one good thing about this system coming up on Sunday and into Monday and next week's the temperature profiles here. Looks like we're going to have highs in the 50s, and that's a good thing because that's the kind of system, certainly the type that could generate winter weather if the temperatures are just right, the way it's tracking south of Alabama into Sunday night and into Monday and next week. But again, right now, looks like a chance for showers, but stay tuned. We will certainly keep you posted. But everyone, of course, is keeping a watch on Friday. We're all familiar with Punxsutawney Phil, right? The legendary weather predictor, the Pennsylvania groundhog. But here in Alabama, we also have a weather predicting mammal. The state's most famous marsupial is Sand Mountain Sam, and he is all set to make his own prediction for an early spring. Meteorologist Fred Hunter visits Sam and his Sand Mountain caretaker, who have a big week in the works.
Terry, thank you very much. Introduce our special guests of honor there that are with you.
Sure would, Fred. I think you're one on top of my list, one of my favorite guys in the world. This is Lulu. She will be the possum handler that day on Sand Mountain Sound. This is the most popular possum probably in the state. This is Sam himself. So Sam is the guy that's going to be predicting our upcoming spring, because in the South we don't trust no groundhog to do that. We use the possum instead.
Oh yeah. Now, Terry, tell us a little bit about the evolution, I guess, of Sam, because you guys been doing this for a while up there at Bama Buck's restaurant. Tell us how it came to be and what's going to be going on, and kind of give us a timetable for all the activities coming up on this important weather week.
Okay, well, it all started with WQSB, and this was kind of their gig. They'd been doing it for years, and there come a point that they wasn't going to be able to do it anymore because they didn't have the proper license, and because of regulations, they couldn't keep a possum. We do have those type permits here at Bama Buck, so they had asked us if we could keep the possum and us just do a combined effort with this event. Last year was very successful. The news carried as far as Canada last year. We were very impressed with the crowd that we had that come out. So we're cranking things up a notch, and we're going to be hosting and having a lot more events going on. A lot of people rolling in. We got a guy coming down from Virginia. We got some from North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. This is going to be helping us with all of our bluegrass. We got spoon playing, ham boning going on, a lot of buck dancing. We'll have the Beverly Hillbillies here. We'll have a lot of outside vendors that'll be here that morning with some cowboy cooking, and all that'll be free. We've got complimentary donuts supplied by Walmart, and we've got a lot of Coca-Cola products going to be brought in. We've got bull peanuts, kettle corn, a lot of stuff going on. We'll actually be having the Possum Queen will be here that day. She'll be riding in the back of a horse-drawn buggy. Uh, we'll be releasing the doves, rolling out the red carpet, putting her on her throne, and she'll be escorted with the bagpipers, because we got to show a little royalty to her when she arrives.
And use it tomorrow night too. Okay. Hey, I don't think, I mean, I think we learned what was going on up there. Yeah. Well, a first alert for a light freeze out there tonight. Again, some foggy weather possible later on this evening. Tomorrow night could see a few showers. We'll talk a lot more about what's on the way for the rest of the week tonight. Join us first at 9.